this is the data set we are going to be working with. So this is the data set we are going with, not this one. I think that should be 25. Yeah, this one. So this is the data set we are going to be working with, the fake job postings. The first thing we have to do is let's import libraries. Import libraries. Now let's go and say markdown and let's run this. Now we have to import numpy as np, import pandas as pd, import msno as msno. Then we can import matplotlib dot pyplot as plt. Then we can import cbon as sns. Then we can say warnings, import warnings, then warnings dot filter warnings, then we'll say ignore, right? Now let's go ahead and run this. So let's wait for it to run. Okay, now the next thing we go ahead to do is import datasets. Import datasets. Now to do that, we say df is equals to pd.read underscore csv2 csv, and we say arrow. So let's go and copy parts. So we copy as parts, then we run, we paste it, then we can run this. Now let's do our data investigation. Now we go ahead and run this. Now the first thing we have to do is we do df.head. Let's check first 5 rows. So we do df.head. Okay, so let's run this. Now as you can see, this is what our column look like. This is what our columns look like. So from here we have already seen we have missing values. Then we have the job ID, we have title, location. Okay. Then we have departments. Then we have company profile. Then we have description. Then we have requirements. Then we have telecommuting benefits. There, if the company has a company logo, I think 1 is for yes, 0 is for no. Ask questions, employment type, required experience, required education, industry, function, fraudulent. Okay. Then okay, so that it. Now the next thing I want us to do is let's go ahead and check for duplicated. So we say df dot duplicated. Okay. Df dot duplicated. Let's say dot sum. Then the next thing I want us to do is let's do info. So we say df.info. Okay. So we have integer, objects. So 17,880 entries. So this is quite a large data set. So let's check for missing values. Missing value. So we say df dot is not dot sum. Let's go ahead and run this. So as you can see, we have quite a large number of missing values for each row. Okay, that's quite a large number of missing values for each row. So we can decide to drop some missing values, or we can decide to fill them with the mean, median, or with the beefy or backfill method, or even with the mode. So, but we are not in the data cleaning phase yet. So the next thing I want us to do is statistical info. Statistical info. Then we do df dot describe, right? Then let's run this. Now this is the data cleaning phase, right? Now the first thing we have to do, let's store the top 5 rows first. Let's say df dot head, or let's just make it 20 to get a better glance of what we are working on. So this is it. Now this is what our columns look like. This is what our columns look like. Now, when you look at this particular data set, there is a lot, when I say a lot of data cleaning that we will have to do here. We have a lot of data cleaning we have to do here, from handling missing values to dropping some columns to handling text inconsistency and the rest of them. So there are a lot of columns we have to clean up here. But then before we go ahead, the first thing I would like us to do is let's drop the job ID column, right? Because that doesn't actually add up to our analysis. As time goes on too, we will decide if there are more columns that we would want to drop. So we say drop the job ID column, job ID column. Before we do that, let's add here and say check for columns. And let's say df dot columns. Now let's run this. Okay. Now these are the columns we have. Now to drop the job ID column, we say df dot drop. We say columns should be equal to job ID, right? Then in place equals to true. Column should be equals to job ID, then in place equals to true. In place equals to true. Right, then we'll close this. Then what we have to do is copy job ID and paste here. Now let's go ahead and run this. Now the next thing we have to do is let's verify. Verify. Now to do that, we just say df.columns. Now let's run this again. So as you can see, we have successfully eliminated the job ID, right? Now the first thing I want us to do is I want us to remove duplicate rows. Now let's check for duplicate, right? Check duplicate. Let's check for duplicates. Now to check for duplicates, we'll say df dot duplicated. Now let's run this. Now let's say dot sum, right? So this we are trying to ensure that no job was actually posted twice. That means there are no duplicated rows. Now you see that we have 281 duplicate. We have 281 duplicate, right? So as you can see that we have 281 duplicates, right? So what we have to do is drop duplicate, right? We have to drop duplicates. Now to drop duplicate, all we have to do is we say df dot drop, right? Then we say underscore duplicate. Then we say this should be in place equals to true. Now the next thing we have to do is verify this. So to verify this, we do df dot duplicated, right? Dot sum. Now let's run this again. Now we have successfully handled our duplicated values. Now the next thing we have to do is let's check for missing values. Check for missing values. Now to do that, we say df dot sum. Sorry, df dot ignore dot sum. Now let's run this. Now as you can see, we have several missing values in each column, right? Now the next thing we'll have to do is I want us to drop rows in key columns. Key columns. Now, when I'm talking about key columns, we are talking about the rows, the columns that actually gives more information or more details on the job. Now, for example, is the title, the description, and the company profile. So any row where we have missing values in these key columns, we are going to drop the rows, right? Now, to do that, so let's say key columns like title, key columns like title, description, company profile. Now to do that, we say df is equal to, so we say df dot drop now, okay? So that's what we use to drop rows. So we say subsets should be equals to, so we say the rows, the columns we are dropping missing rows in is title. So we say title, so we copy this and paste it. Then the next one should be description. We copy this and paste it. Then the next one should be company profile. So we copy this and paste it, right? Okay. So we close this and we have to close this, then close this. Now let's go ahead and run this. Okay. So we have successfully dropped the rows. So we have successfully dropped the rows, right? Now let's go ahead and we check for missing values. We check for missing values. Now to do that, we say df.ignore dot sum. Now let's run this. Let's run this. Okay. Now as you can see, we no longer have missing values in title, company profile, and description, right? Okay. Now the next thing we have to do is we have to go ahead and handle missing values for the rest. Handle missing values for the rest. Now to handle the rest of the fields, we are going to fill most of them with unknown, right? So the first thing we have to do is let's handle for department. Then we'll say df department, right? This should be equals to df departments, df department. like I mentioned, when filling in missing values with something else, we make use of pinner, right? So we make use of the method fill now. So this should be dot pinner. Okay. So we are going to fill it with unknown. We're going to fill it with unknown, right? Now we are going to strip this check. Okay. We are going to strip it to make it plain. Now to strip it, we use str, then dot strip, right? Then we also do dot str lower. Okay. Now I explained this in the other sections too. Now we go ahead and go to the next one. Let's say the next one we want to handle is location. So we say df location. Okay, so df location is equals to df location dot final df location dot final. Okay, then we fill it with what? Unknown, just like the above. Unknown, fill it with unknown, right? Now we say the next thing we are going to be handling is the salary range. We're going to be handling salary range. Now for this salary range, we are going to be filling it with not provided. But before we go ahead to fill it with not provided, we'll make sure that we are filling only the missing values with not provided. And also we are going to be ensure that we are changing the data type appropriately, right? But before we go ahead, let's confirm what data type it is. Okay, so salary range. As you see here, the salary range is an object, right? So we are going to be filling it. We are going to be handling it, like converting it to an integer instead of an object, right? Now to do that, we say df, then this should be salary. This should be salary range, right? Salary range, okay, is equals to df salary range dot. It's no, because we are filling just the missing values, right? No, then as type, so we convert it to int, right? Then the next thing we have to do is we then fill it with dot. Let's leave it. Let's just copy this and paste it here. Then we'll fill it with dot filler. And we are going to be filling it with not provided. Not provided. Now the next one we are going to be handling is requirements and benefits, right? So we are going to be filling them with not provided or not specified, right? So all we just have to do is we just have to copy this, right? Then we say handling requirements and benefits. So because they were during the job posting, the job poster did not specify the requirement and the benefit. So we are just going to be leaving it as not specified. So all we just have to do is paste this, then we copy requirements. Yes, okay, requirements, right? So that's what we are working on, requirements. So we say requirements, we just paste it here. requirements, and this should be requirements. Then we just say not specified, right? Now we also copy this here and we just paste it here. Then we paste requirements with benefits. We say benefits, which is also not specified, right? So we also say benefits, okay, not specified. Now the next one we have to handle is employment type, required experience, and required education. So for this, we are going to be making use of for loop. So we say employment type, employment, let's just say handling employment type, right? Required experience, right? And required education. Now to do this, we have to say, let's say cat calls, we declare a variable and call it cat calls, and let's say it's equal to the columns we are working on, right? So which will be our employment type, employment type, employment type. Then the next one should be required experience, required experience. Then the next one would be required education, required education, right? Now these are the columns that we are working on, right? So the next thing we have to do is, now let's write our for loop, right? Now we'll say for every, so we say for co in cat schools, right? For co in cat schools, right? Then we add our indentation, right? df co, right? Then should be equals to df co dot with strip it str the lower, strip the lower text, and also strip the, then we say str dot strip, right? Then we'll fill it with filling it with dot spinner, right? Then we say we fill it with unknown. I just hope I got the spelling of unknown though. Okay, see, I'm already seeing finna. So the next one we have to handle is industry, handling industry and function. I think that's the next one on our list. Now we just feed them with unknown, right? So we can simply just copy this and paste this. Okay. Then we just say industry, but now I would like us to strip that. Okay, don't worry, we can just write the code just after it. So we just specify industry, right? Industry. Okay. So we are going to be filling with unknown, because the industry was not known, right? Then we have to strip lower dot st. So I think I'm missing something here. Okay. Then we do the same for benefits. So to make it a bit faster, we can just copy this code here and paste it and just change it to, okay, sorry, function, not benefits, please. Function. So we change it to function. Now the next one we have to actually work on is fraudulent, right? Fraudulent. Now for this fraudulent, we are going to drop the missing rows, right? We are going to drop the missing rows because this is the target, it is the target column. That's when we are handling our missing values. But normally there should be no missing values. Let's confirm if you have missing values here. Okay, as you can see, we don't actually have any missing value. So normally, because this is the target, that means when we are building our machine learning, this is the target where we have 0 or 1, right? When you're building your classification machine learning model. Okay, so I think this is virtually all. So this is it. So let's go ahead and run this code. But before then, I feel like we have a mistake here. This should be department. I think the department is in small letter. So okay, yes, this is correct. So let's run this though and see if we have any error. Okay. Now let's go ahead and confirm missing values. Confirm. Let's just say we confirm missing values. Now let's say df dot is null dot sum. Right. Now let's run this. Okay, so we still have missing values in departments. So let's go ahead and check. So we say df dot. Okay, I think I've seen the mistake. So we added an e. So let's rerun this and let's rerun this. Boom. As you can see, we have successfully figured that out. So you see, we have successfully figured that out. So let's go up. There's something I want us to check, right? Now, when you look at this particular column, right? When you look at this particular column, these particular columns. So you will see that we have a lot of things we have to actually handle in the rows. Like when you look at this, you will see that some of the rows are having URL, right? Some of the rows are having URL. Some of the rows are having slash slash. So these are things we actually need to, handle. Well, let's take a look at it, right? So these are the things we need to handle. But I want us to do something. Let's do value count for that. Let's do validation, right? So we do df dot value underscore counts. Now let's run this and see. Okay. Now I want us to actually look at the columns, the rows. I want us to look at the rows. So to understand some, okay, this is another one we have. The comma, the slash, comma. So we need to strip all this. So this is another one. We need to strip all this. So this is why data validation is very important. So we see this URL here, right? This URL. So when you see this URL, the slash, slash slash, you can see. So all these things we need to actually strip them. We need to actually strip them, right? And I can see some HTML tags too. So I can see some HTML tags too that needs to be stripped, right? Some HTML tags that we need to strip also, right? So, and when you look at it, you see that we have inconsistent casing. That means lowercase and uppercase. When you look at this thoroughly, you see that it is inconsistent. So we also need to fix that, right? Now let's go ahead and do that. So we'll call this cleaning sex columns, right? Now, before we go ahead and write the code, there are some libraries we have to import, right? Because as you can see, we saw some HTML columns, right? HTML tags, right? So we have to import the beautiful soup and request. So we import arrow and import beautiful soup. So this is actually libraries used for this is actually used for web scraping. So we are trying to use it to eliminate some tags and text inconsistency. So beautiful soup. I think this should be capital. I'm not sure. Let me try small letter. So let's try small letter and see. Okay, so let's try capital letter. I think it's either small or capital letter. So let's one module name beautiful soup. Okay, I think I'm getting it wrong. Okay, this should be from BS4, sorry. Import beautiful soup. Okay, so let's run this again. So it is still giving me that error. So what could be the problem? Now let's go back and recheck. So import requests, import from BS4, import. Okay, so this should be beautiful soup. So I think that's work. Okay, now let's go back. Now to clean the text columns, right? So this is going to be a very long code. So I'm just going to paste it, right? I'm just going to paste this. And please note that these notebooks are available on request. So this is the code we are going to be using, right, to handle this. Okay. Now what we have to do is let's go ahead and run this. Okay, I think it has finished running. Now let's confirm that. So let's reconfirm text cleaner. Now to do that, let's say df.head 50. Sorry, let's make it 20, please. Okay, 50 will be too long. Okay. So as you can see, it is looking much better. Don't you think so? It is looking way better. Our text is looking cleaner now, right? It's looking cleaner. It's looking cleaner. Let's make this 50 so you see for yourself too. Okay, so this is looking cleaner to me. So this is looking cleaner. It's looking cleaner. All tests are consistent. So the next thing we have to do is let's look at the location, right? I don't really like the way the location is, right? Because as you can see here, it's giving us country, which is US, state, New York, then New York, right? So it's giving us NZ, Auckland. So I don't really feel like this is actually cool. So what we have to do now is I want us to actually split the location column to country and state, right? To city and sorry, to city and country, please. City and country. Right. Now to do this, we are going to be using this code, right? So this is us specifying that we want it to be splitted to state and city. Now, when doing this, you need to be careful, right? Now, because when you look here at the location, you will see that the country US comes before the state. Okay. Now, you must make sure that the state country, right, is coming before the city, right? Because if you say city first before country, so your data is going to be showing US as a city and then New York as the country. So you just have to be careful. Then after that, we specified, we just strip, right? We strip the columns, right? Then let's just go ahead and run this. Now let's just go ahead and confirm this. Now to reconfirm this, we say df.head. Okay, now this is going to create another column, right? It's going to create two new columns where we will have the state, country, and city. Now we'll just have to end up dropping this. Okay, so let's just run this and confirm that. Okay, now let's go down. So as you can see, we have the city and we have the country. Now, it simply means that this particular column is now not useful. So we just have to drop it, right? And to do that, we say df dot drop, right? Column equals to location in place equal to true. Now let's go ahead and confirm this. Confirm if location column. Confirm if the location column was dropped. Was dropped. Now to do this, we say df.head. Now let's run this. So as you can see, the location column has been dropped, right? Now I always like doing this. The drop location column. Now, the next thing I would like us to do is, I would actually like us to remove very short job descriptions, right? So you know that a job description is not supposed to be short. So we are going to be removing short job description. So removing short job description, right? Now to do that, we just say df is equal to df, then we'll say df, then we'll say description, right? Description, right? Dot script dot len. So this actually counts the number of words. So where it is not greater than 50, it eliminates it. Now let's run this. Okay, I think, okay, it's not STL, please. Okay, so we have successfully done that. I also want us to check where job title is equals to description. Okay, so we go and job title equals description. So we are handling roles where job title is the same thing as description, right? So do that, we say df equals to df, then this should be description, right? Description. Then we close this, then equals to df, then title. Okay, title. So because we do not have much numerical columns, so this is when you look at this data set, it is more of a text data set than numerical data set. So because we do not have much numerical data set, all we have to do is there is no need for us to eliminate outliers. All right. So all we have to do is we simply have to just save this as a CSV file. So we just say saving our clean data sets. So to do that, we say df.to tsv. So we specify the name we want to call it. So let's say plain click job posting dot tsv. So with this, we can simply go ahead and start creating our Power BI dashboard if that's what we want to do. So for the course of this tutorial, I'm just showing you how you can actually save your clean data sets. Well, first should be a capital letter, please. Now let's go ahead and run this. So this has been successfully saved. So once I go on my laptop now, I'll be able to find it. So we have come to the end of this project.